What is up, everybody? We are going to get started momentarily, but because this is a live stream, I'm going to wait just a bit for people to filter in. But we're going to be creating from scratch. I'm putting myself on the spot, a really cool interaction. So we're just going to wait for people to slowly filter in, hopefully quickly. I didn't give any type of notification that this live stream is occurring, but we'll just have fun with it and see what happens. Say hi in the chat. I'll go ahead and say hi as well. We'll be doing a kind of a different live stream. What is up, Kevin? Hello, Ahmad. Yeah, today's a little bit different because this is going to be a project-based live stream. I will still answer questions if you have questions in the chat room. What is up? Okay, a lot of people here. Call of Duty War, hello. Bones. What is up, Bones? Prince, how is it going? Ahmed, yes, it is indeed Ahmed. Broth, what is going on? Well, we got somebody from LinkedIn. It says a LinkedIn user. We don't get to know your name. All right, I am doing pretty well. We're going to get started here very soon. Balloon. We're going to have fun with this one. I hope I don't screw it up because I'm putting myself on the spot. We're going to create a project from scratch. We're going to ask ChatGPT to help us out. What's your opinion on AI creating design layouts and creative images? Well, I like it. It can be a source of inspiration. Of course, AI currently isn't at a state where it can just create a really good looking polished UI, but it can give you ideas, especially for color schemes. I've done a few videos on that, and especially Midjourney for creating assets, and also Adobe Illustrator's Firefly, the vector ability to create assets that are truly vector is awesome as well. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and, oh, awesome. Somebody bought the course, my From Figma to Framer course. We're going to be working with in Framer. Yes, Metallica. I have to stop looking at the comments so much. So let me show you something very, very cool. And we're going to be creating something similar, except for a different business idea and different concept. But the animation principles will still apply. So this is a project that I created for the course From Figma to Framer, which I'm currently working on. Now, check this out. Not very exciting, right? Well, check this out. As I scroll down, wow, look at that. Look how cool that is. Not a single piece of code was written in order to create this. And it's just so nice and smooth and works very well. All right. Now, it's not responsive yet, but if you want to check this out, I'm going to paste this inside of the comment section. There we go. You guys can check that out on your own browsers. Just maximize it, and you'll see what the interaction looks like. Yes, I play drums and guitar. All right. So what I want to do is, instead of just showing you exactly how to create this, we're going to create something very similar that uses the same concepts. But it would be too easy for me to just recreate this again. I like challenging myself, which, you know, could backfire. But what I want to do is ask ChatGPT for just a random business idea. Give me 3 fictional features about that business, and we're going to create a unique kind of like layout, not one that looks exactly like this or anything, but something that really just addresses a different concept, okay? But still using the same type of technology with a fixed element that is transitioning or animating somehow based on the section in which it's hovering over, and then also animating some other stuff as well. So this is where, real quickly, I'll check out the chat. Oh, sorry. Did I not show you guys that? Well, anyways, this is the animation. Hopefully, I didn't just like completely hide the screen. And so what we're going to do is I ask ChatGPT to help us with a business idea. That's the first step. And then I'll show you how to, and then we'll hop into Figma, and then we'll design it, and then we'll do Framer. Okay. So hopefully maybe like 35, 40 minutes this will take. If you have any questions, I will be checking out the chat, you know, routinely throughout this stream. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it, I'm going to say, give me a fictional business idea summarize it in a few sentences, and provide me with 3 different features. Each feature should have a title and a paragraph consisting of approximately 3 sentences. All right. All right. Business idea: Eco Stride Urban Greening. What the hell is that? Okay. So Eco Stride Urban Greening is a startup focused on transforming urban spaces into green, sustainable environments. So in other words, urban environments, maybe they're dilapidated or something, they just have bad economics in the area or something like that. And now instead of just having dilapidated, broken down houses, we're going to make it green. This is, we're going to make it look good. Okay. So this is the idea that ChatGPT wants me to create a feature section for, and we're going to do it in that cool, scrolly, animated way. All right. So summary, I'm not going to read about this too much. We have feature 1, smart rooftop gardens. Okay, so here's some content for us to work with and some ideas. So the first one is smart rooftop gardens. All right, the next one's going to be community engagement programs, and then pollution reduction systems. Trying to find an icon that symbolizes these things might be difficult, but screw it, we'll find it. We'll figure it out. And so now that we have their idea, I'm going to hop into Figma. I'll go ahead and check out the chat real quickly, and nobody gives a crap and has not said anything since. Okay, that's okay. So let's continue on. Let's go over here. All right, so eco. Okay, so our urban eco project. All right, so let's think here. Background color. That's usually where I start first. We're gonna start thinking about the colors. Obviously, eco green. I mean, isn't that too obvious? I mean, maybe we'll do something like maybe not quite green, but maybe, oh boy, that's going to like blast your eyeballs. I'm going to make sure that you can all see my screen. Yep, you can. Okay. All right. So I kind of want a fixed element of some sort that stays in the screen while 3 different sections, or however many sections I want there to be, to scroll by. There's going to be 3 sections. And maybe we'll go light. We're going to go light mode on this, but we'll have a little bit of color, just a little bit of green. I like that. Okay. So I think what we'll do is have just a 2-column layout. Now, the other demo that I showed you was a 3-column layout, but we'll do 2. It doesn't matter how many columns, we can make it work. And we're going to have, let's just design for our first section. So if I go back to a browser and I take a look at business idea, smart rooftop gardens. Let's just do Sky Seed Technology. Okay, we'll copy that title and we're going to paste that in. Okay, and let's increase that size. All right, so Sky Seed Technology, let's go ahead and we'll bold that. You know what? Let's just be simple and let's stick with Enter, okay? The default font, not a problem. Now let's go ahead and then increase this a bit for our paragraph. So now let's go over to we're at our browser. Sometimes I get lost while I'm streaming. So here is, we'll copy maybe this amount of text and we'll go back, paste that bad boy in. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of a UI UX design fundamentals, UI design specifically, and UX. There's overlap here, of course. This looks like crap, right? Why? Well, it looks like crap because these are 2 different elements. We have a title and a description. The title is the most important, so we want to establish that visual hierarchy, which we don't have right now. You're not sure which one you should look at first, right? Some people get this absolutely wrong when you're absolute beginners. You want to make this less obvious, all right, but still readable. So we're going to decrease this. We're going to make it regular and for the font weight. And then we'll go ahead, come over here and, letter spacing. We'll increase, no, not the letter spacing, the line height. There we go. I'm screwing this up. There we go. So we'll go smaller, increase that. That looks pretty decent to me. All right. We might be able to make these a little bit larger because they're looking a little bit small. We'll just say 22 for that and increase the line height just slightly. I think that's good right there. So sky seed technology, here's our first section. Now notice I've aligned this here in the middle. Yeah, somewhere right around there is good. Okay, and then we're going to have our element that stays fixed position, but also animates based on the section that is visible. So what I'll do is we'll take the frame tool. So we create kind of like just a box that will hold us in, and this will stay, like I said, fixed. And we're going to add a fill. Ooh, that's ugly. We're going to grab this color. Now, what's really cool is we can actually change the background color of this fixed position within Framer based on the section that's behind it. So we can change the color scheme when we do this. So let's increase this. We'll get some rounded borders or so. I'm not sure if I want to use that color. Maybe we'll go darker, kind of like that. And again, I may end up changing a lot about this, but for now, this is good. Let's go ahead and, okay, so SkySea technology, you would think maybe we're going to feature like a photograph of like this technology and work. No, we're not going to do that. I think what we'll do is just kind of accompany an icon and maybe have some text or something like that. Let's see. Let's just take this. Again, this is completely off the cuff. I might not be making the greatest decisions right now, but I think this should work. So we're gonna customize this little card for each section essentially. So we're gonna make this a lot smaller, maybe like size 16, with a lot of letter spacing. All right. All right, sky feed. All right, so maybe I could look for like some sort of logo in this section or something. Let's go ahead and go to our Unsplash. No, I don't want Unsplash. Sorry. I want Iconify. These are just simple icons that we can use. If I type in technology, that's not really getting us that much. What if I type in sky or something like that? Okay, so Skype. Eh, how about cloud? Some of those are kind of lame. I'm not sure if I really like that too much. Sky feed. Okay. Now that's RSS. We're not going to do that. Yeah, we'll make this simple. We'll just choose one of these elements. Yeah, like this. Okay. Now I'm just going to play around with this. Kind of want there to be something more here, because that is rather uninspiring. Maybe I'll try to find, maybe some better illustrations. Now, if I go to the Figma community and let's go to, well, we'll just go to community profile here. And I go to design templates. And if I type in illustrations, maybe we'll find something. All products, let's see, paid and free. Let's just do free. Now, is this actually truly free? 1,600. Sometimes, a lot of times, that they just give you a small amount and then you have to pay for the rest. I mean, this is probably the situation. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. Yeah, because we might be able to get a much better quality illustration Oh, wow. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot here that we can use. This is pretty cool. All right. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time trying to find one that speaks to this concept of the sky and stuff. Because I don't want to spend too much time on this screwing around. So what we'll do is trying to find one. I'm still trying to find one. Let's just do this. Okay. So if we copy that, we go back. Yeah, there it is. We paste this. Are you kidding me? It's not even, it's just a picture. Where is the, oh yeah, I should have noticed that these are not vector. Start, 1600 minimal, all vector illustrations. Okay. Let's get rid of the stupid grid. There we go. These are supposed to be the vector illustrations? Yes, they are. Okay, good. Sorry about that. Let's just take this person who's, no, let's take this. No, let's take that one. Okay, so we're gonna go back, paste it in. Let's delete this stupid thing. Now this looks very not like exciting, but when we get the animation integrated in Framer, it's gonna look a lot more cool, essentially. So I think we'll leave it at that for now. And I could sit there and design each section, but I'm not going to do that because really this is all I need. And then we can just create 3 different unique sections with 3 different unique, illustrations that will kind of animate and come up and in based on each section, and perhaps change the color of this background and everything inside, depending on the next section's color. So let's do that. Now we're going to switch gears and focus on Framer. Before I do that, though, we're going to check out the, yes, there we go. All right, so just kind of seeing what, I'm going to check the chat real quickly. Interesting project selection. I give a crap. Okay. All right. You know what? I really thought you were the guy who made Flowbite. I don't know what Flowbite is, but he probably is awesome. I don't know. Anyhow, if anybody has questions specific to UI, UX design, front-end development, career stuff, go ahead and ask in here. And I'm going to be checking the comments here routinely. All right, now getting back to this, let's go back to, let's go to Framer. So for those of you who haven't been watching yet, we're going to be creating something similar to this concept where you scroll down and you have a fixed element like this that changes based on the interaction. This is kind of more of an advanced level approach for just kind of showing different features or something like this. And Framer makes this fun. It's very fun to do. So going back in our Framer project, I'm going to create a new project. All right. And by the way, everybody, real quickly, if you do not know yet, designcourse.com, Framer, my From Figma to Framer course is currently something you can take. I have currently about 5 hours of content recorded. So you could take it for a reduced price before it's finished. It'll be finished probably sometime next month in June. But you could take it off. You could take it now based on what I currently have there. So you're going to learn how to do all this crazy cool stuff from Figma to Framer, meaning taking designs and layouts that I create in Figma and being able in the future, other designs maybe that you create or somebody provides to you, and then being able to take that and make it a working reality in the browser. That's what this course is all about, a working animated interactive reality. Okay, so let's go back. And the first thing I'm gonna do is just grab the background color here in Figma. So it's this very light green color. And I'll go back here, paste that in. Okay, we're gonna hit enter. Then we're going to give this a layout. So the page itself always pretty much has a layout, and we're going to, these are good values right here. Direction is vertical. We have our distribution at start and align center. That is fine as well. Gap, I want 0. I don't want any spaces between my sections. Next up, we have to have an overall stack that kind of includes our 3 sections. All right. So we're going to hit F for a frame. Okay. Now, this is going to be set in the future from a fixed height to a fit content, but we have no content in it, so it'll just collapse on itself. So we're going to leave it like that, and we're going to not give this one a fill. We don't need a fill for this one. And we are going to ensure, let's see here, let's go to layers. Oh yeah, frame, yeah. And so then inside of this, we're going to call this scrolling. Let's call this scroll container. All right. And inside of this, we're going to have another frame. This frame right here will be our first section. So we'll call it section 1. So let's double click on it and rename it right there. And we're going to get rid of the background for this particular section because the background of the website already has the background we want for that section. Sorry about that. Can't talk. Height of this one is going to be 100 VH for viewport height. All right. Because I want each section to consume the full viewport height, whether you're looking at it on a phone or a desktop, right? So now I saw some weird reconnecting thing. Hopefully everything's going well. Okay, let's continue on. Now going back to Framer here, where are we at? There we are. Inside of here, this is where we want to create our layout. And really, we only have to have, for our 2-column layout, it looks like it's 2 columns. Like if we go back, right? 1 column here and then this column. But really, for each section, we don't include this element because this is going to be outside of it. It will be fixed, all right? Very important. So we really just need 150% width column to hold this information. Okay. So going back, inside of section 1, we're going to create another frame. We hit the frame tool, or the frame F key for the frame tool, and we'll just drag out all the way there. And now on section 1, we have to give this a layout first. So let's do that. And then we are going to, let's see here, end. There we go. So we change the distribution to end. And let's check out, by the way, our scroll container. We want to make sure our width and height for all these embedded elements make sense based on our needs. So of course, we want to make sure that the overall scroll container right here has 100% width with a height that's fixed. Now for now, we can just do fit content. Yeah, and that'll work just fine. And then we're going to come into our section 1. What is that looking like? Well, it's fixed. We don't want that. We want our sections to be fluid, not just fixed, right? So if the browser's maximized or whatever, or if it's real small, it's always going to, have the same filling effect, 100% width. So we're going to do 100% there. And in this frame right here, we don't want that to be fixed either. We want to have like 0.5 FR. All right, so fractional unit. So that's one way of saying 50% basically. Now the height, we're going to do fill. It's going to fill its parent, all right, which is section 1. So now oh, by the way, we don't want it to be blue like that. That kind of looks like garbage. So let's get rid of the fill. Okay. Ooh, we're getting juicy. We're getting close here. Well, not really. So let's keep on going. So now that we have that, let's go to Figma. I'll check out the comments here in a little bit after I do this next section. And I'm just going to take these 2 elements and right click and choose plugins in Figma to HTML with Framer. That is a free plugin from Framer that allows you to take your elements and just copy them. So it just copies it in your clipboard. And then we're going to go back, and inside of here, inside of our frame, which I'll just call this inner, we're going to have, I'm going to call that right call. We're going to have another frame that holds both of those elements. Now, for now, I'm just going to go ahead with right call selected, this element, I'm going to paste. All right. So now that that's pasted, we need to wrap around a stack around this. Because if you look over here, we just have right column, and then we have 2 pieces of type. But we need to get that type centered vertically within that this right column. So to do that, we right click and we choose add stack. Okay, so now it has a stack. In this stack, we need to change the alignment to the left. And distribution center, that's kind of weird. Well, let's figure this out. Oh, that's why. We need to add a layout onto right column. There we go. So we're making slow progress, slowly transitioning this bad boy. The type is a little bit big for my liking, so I'm going to scale this down to like 16 or so. Technology is kind of big as well, so I'm going to scale that down as well. Okay. Now we have to do some work. So our stack itself, we have set at 1 fractional unit, which consumes the entire area here. Now that's fine, but I do want to have some white space, I think, on the right side. So if we change this to like, let's say 0.7 FR. Okay, so what we need to do is we will take our right column and instead of centering it, oopsie, instead of aligning it to center, we'll align it to the left. There we go. All right, we're making some progress. Now, we're not done yet. We have to make sure we're taking a look at these elements. And so auto fit, that's good for the title. And then the description, we also have a fixed height. You don't want that. You just want to change that to fit content. All right. And I think we're pretty good there. Okay. Hopefully it's not too loud in here because it's raining and I have a metal roof in my studio. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and just hit play. Yeah, that's all it is. Nothing exciting. I'm going to go ahead and check the chat real quick. All right. Just checking out. Have you ever tried a different platform like WordPress? What are your thoughts on them? You know, WordPress is real old school. I have nothing wrong against it, but I think the much more modern approach to landing pages specifically, I would say, would be something like Webflow or Framer. I really just don't like how bloated WordPress seems to be. And I know a lot of WordPress experts are going to say it doesn't have to be, but for me personally, I just have no interest in WordPress anymore. Let's continue on. Anybody else has any other questions? Go ahead, feel free and ask in the chat and all that good stuff. Okay, let us continue. We're going back to, Framer. Okay, so now that we have this section and it's looking good to go, let's create the other sections before we do the sticky thing. So what I'll do, we have section 1. I'm going to give this section a scroll section right here. So we click on that and we give us a name. We'll call it section -1. Now that's important. We're going to need that for the future. All right. And when you do that, it adds this little hash tag there. So now we're going to just duplicate this. Now it's putting it to the right of it. So if we take the parent container, scroll container, we need to change the direction from horizontal to vertical. So now if we change this to fit content, we can see 2 different sections. Now let's go ahead and experiment with the color. Let's give this one a fill. And let's choose maybe an analogous color, which if you know your color schemes, analogous means we want to choose a color. We're going to choose this one right here. So now they're the same color again, but we're going to take our slider and maybe just push it to an adjacent color. Now, sometimes this might work and sometimes it might not. It might look like crap. This, I really don't like this color contrast. So I'm going to adjust it further. So let's see, maybe it doesn't have to be analogous. What I'm going to look for when I choose a color, I want to make sure there's good color contrast between these 2 sections. So when I take this, I do section 1, that one's okay, but we can also play around with, making it darker. So, our contrast works well there. Maybe we can just go real light on it. I don't know. I don't like that one. Hold on. I think we can go a little darker and we'll go into the green. So we have a little bit of blue green here, but now we're really into a green here. And I think that'll work as fine as well. All right. And then we'll take this section. We got to give it a unique section name. So section 1 changes to section 2. Oh, come on, Gary. There we go. Okay. And then we'll duplicate this. And let me rename this over here, section 2, and then this is section 3. Okay. We want to make sure there's, why is there a gap right there? Oh, that's because there's a gap here. There we go, 0. Now we have no gaps. Now let's go ahead and figure out another color for this. I'd like to get all 3 colors in view, and we'll take the other color here. Yeah, maybe we'll go much darker this time. So yeah, just to make it a little bit more dynamic and interesting, we'll go pretty dark. Okay, so that, in this case, we'll take this text and we'll make it white. Okay, we have our 3 sections. And now we're ready to rock by getting our design in Figma. But this stupid rain is getting louder and louder. So I apologize if you hear like what sounds like static. Son of a, always raining here. That's what happens when you live like an hour underneath all of the Great Lakes. Just constant cloud coverage almost. All right, enough complaining, Gary. Let's do let's copy. Oh yeah, our plugins. So we're just going to copy this with our from Figma to HTML with Framer plugin, and we're going to go back. That was a mouthful. And what I'm going to do is just we're going to select the desktop itself and just paste this bad boy. All right. So now we have our frame 1, which is probably at the bottom. Yep, it's right there because it's not a position absolute element. So now what we want to do is we want to change this here to fixed. Now it's disappeared on us. So if we take frame 1, and yeah, this could be a little bit annoying. If I push this up, there we go. So what I'm going to do, and this is going to mess up our position fix probably. There we go. Okay. I'm going to reduce this size a bit. And let's see here. May have to recreate this from scratch. Sometimes this gets screwed up, but let me add a layout. There we go. That works. Okay. There's our sky feed, and there's our person. What I want to do is wrap around a frame around this element, because my idea is to transition 3 different icons up and out based on the section that it's hovering over. So if I hit play, notice how it's staying right here, but there's no animation. This looks like crap because this is bad color contrast. We'll be able to fix all of this, and it's very cool. But this is what we have so far. One thing as well to note is that when you scroll down and you have like these interesting sort of scroll enacted animations, which we don't yet have, it's nice to have a smooth scroll where it has like a locomotive effect if you're using your mouse scroll wheel. So in order to get that smooth scroll integrated into Framer, you just type in Framer smooth scroll in Google. Framer University has one. All you have to do is just click copy component, close it out, select the desktop, and just paste it in. Nothing shows up, but now we've given ourselves, let's put this at the top. If I hit play, now we have smooth scroll. Isn't that cool? And there's also settings associated with it. So if you select on the smooth scroll component right here in the layers, you can come down here and you can change the intensity. So the intensity means it'll be real smooth versus not. You don't want to make it too smooth because it becomes too slow and hard to navigate with the mouse scroll wheel alone. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and we'll check out the chat here, see what's going on. Why is the video pixelated even in 1080p? Well, because sometimes crap happens with the internet. I have zero control over that. Hey, Gary, suggestion, add an RGBA gradient border bottom for the sky feed box and animate it based on scroll. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but yeah, I'll think about that. Let's continue on. Let me go back to my framer. Okay, so now that we have this element, I want to add a stack around it. No, a frame. All right, so by adding a frame, we make sure we have an apparent element around it that's set to overflow hidden. This means if I take this element right here, notice it's now changed to position absolute. We can move this value at the top in position with our keyboard up arrow key. And watch what, oh God, that happens. It'll squash it if you don't have these pins set up right. So let's change that back to 0. And what I'm going to do is deactivate these other 3 corner pins so that only the top one is selected. Now, if we move this down, it's going to shift the whole thing. It's going to hide it. That's the effect that we're going to go for. So I'm going to change this back to 0. And we're going to make this whole element right here a component. All right. So with frame 1 selected, let's rename that to sticky icons or something like that. We're going to right click, create component, create it. All right. So now we're thrust into the component view, and we're going to have 3 different variants. Actually, we're going to have 4 technically. You'll see it in a bit, but we're going to have 3 for our 3 sections. And then 4th one, when we scroll into maybe another section of the website where we don't want to see this sticky thing, we'll make it hide itself, okay, on the 4th section. So what we need to do is, before I add the variants and start designing for those, we can select our pie and charts little graphic right here. And with that selected, we can, let's see here. Oh, what I'll do instead of that is we're going to add another frame. Because if you just try to select just the SVG graphic itself, you won't have access to the ability to add in interactivity and effects. So we just right click, we choose add frame like we did before. And now we can go ahead and let's see here. We could take the frame itself and add effects, and we'll do an appear. All right, and make sure. Okay, good. You see everything. So on appear, we don't want it to fade in. I want to make it slide in bottom. Now let's see what happens if we hit play. See how it slides up? So that's pretty cool. But there's a problem with this approach, and that is, I just remembered, we can't use this approach to do what we want to do. We're going to have to do it manually. And so before I get ahead of myself, we need to create the illustrations for the other 2 sections in order for me to tell you why this can't work this way. So we'll go back into Figma, and we're going to go back to those illustrations, and I'm just going to choose a random one. I forget what the other ideas were. Like if I go back here to, let's see, ChatGPT, what was the second one? Community. Okay, so we'll try to find one that has okay, we'll take this one. So we'll copy that, and I'll just go back into our document. Okay, and I'll right click and we'll choose Figma to HTML with Framer. Okay. Okay, so what we have to do is inside of this initial frame, the parent frame, we'll just call this icon 1. We're going to have another one. I'm going to duplicate it. And so this becomes icon 2. And we'll get rid of the pie and charts thing there, and we'll paste our other one there. Now it's a big freaking mess, right? All right. So we want to make sure that these are set to at least a width of 100%. There we go. And then this stuff right here, I think we can add a layout. Okay, there we go. So we can add a layout here on this one as well to get it centered up. And then what we want to do is with icon 2, we don't want icon 2 to show up because that's only for section 2. So what we'll do is, let's see here. Let's see if we lock this, set this to 100%. There we go. I think that should be good. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. Before I do that, we need to lock it. There we go. Okay. So now what we would do is we're going to take icon 2, and because it's position absolute, we can then take this value and, well, 200 is a lot. Okay, so we're going to push this up or down out of view. All right. There. Now it is completely out of view. And we're going to do that for one more icon for a third section. So for that, again, we're going to go back to ChatGPT. What was the third one? Pollution reduction system. So let's find something that speaks to that in our vector illustrations. Pollution, I like that one. We're copying that. We'll go back to here. I'm going to right click. We'll go plugins, Figma to HTML framer. Go back to our project, which is right here. And we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to duplicate icon 2. We're going to change this here to icon 3. And then we're going to delete that. We're going to paste that in. Now for icon 3, again, lock this, make it 100%. Okay. And yeah, we don't see any of the other ones right now, which is exactly what we want for this. Okay. So let's add another variant. And so to do that, we click the variant option here. And so for variant 2, we'll call this, by the way, let's see, icon 2. What we do is we take our icon 1. So we choose the icon 1 parent layer, not the illustration. And we add, let's see here. Oh yeah, the top value, we hide it. So let's go like to 150. All right, we'll hide it further. And we're going to bring back icon 2. So we set this to 0. Ah, there we go. So what was the second one? Oh, was it community? Let me see. Yes, it was community. So now I'm going to change that text to community. Oh, wait. There's a different, more cool way of doing this, but let's just change the type right now. We'll make that simpler. All right. And so this is icon 2. This will be called icon 1 up here. Oops, I SpongeBob title case there. And then we'll do icon 3 as well. So we'll duplicate icon 2. We'll call this icon 3. All right. And then same thing here. We're going to take, there we go, our icon 2 and set this at, what was it? 100. Oh, wait, it's going the wrong way. Sorry. Let's change this to like 100. There we go. Okay, so now we'll just push that down, get back down there. And then we'll take icon 3, and this is where we set that to 0. And what was this? What was the third one again? Man, I have a bad memory. Pollution. Pollution free. Okay. Okay, so I know that's a lot of setup, but the end result's very cool. So it's worth it. All right. So now we go back to home and we have all of our scaffolding set up already. And so what this means is our sections, each of our 3 sections inside of our scroll container, notice this hash sign, they have a section 1, 2, and 3. So what we do is we select on our fixed position sticky icons. And if I click play, you can see what it does so far. If I reload, you'll see it initially, this animates up and in. So what we're going to do now is, let's see, we will add under effects, scroll variant. All right, now this is where the fun, exciting stuff comes into play. So what we'll do is, and make sure I'm actually streaming. There we go. Okay. We're going to do section in view, and we're going to make the viewport. At what point does this, are a variance going to change, is what this viewport section means. You can experiment with all 3 different placements of these to see how it affects when the animation occurs based on scroll position. Center is pretty much what you'll use most of the time. Replay means, every time you scroll back down through that section, is it going to keep on animating? Yes, we want that. And the section itself is going to be section 1. So this first one is section 1 is going to be set to the, oh no, I didn't name my icons right. So there's a duplicate. Let me go back into our sticky icons and make sure this is icon 1. There we go. Just had to rename that. Now we'll go back there. So this is icon 1. There we go. Now we can click on add section and we'll choose section 2, set to icon 2. We're going to do this one more time. Oh my God, I didn't update that section name. 1 second. There's section 3. Okay, go back to this. Finally, a lot of work here, although a lot less work if we were to do this through code. And let's hit play. So it's not going to look good yet. We still have some changes to make, but they should transition between, the type here and the icon when we scroll over those sections. Oh, look at that. Now this one looks like crap because there's bad color contrast. We can change the background color as well. But look at this. Oh, look how slick. Now we're not done yet though. So let's choose a better color here. So what I'll do actually is I'll just print screen this. We'll go into Figma, and I'm going to throw this in here just for a second, and I'm going to hit a rectangle, I think. Yeah, get out of here. We're going to choose a better color for this area. So I just grab the background color and make it a little bit darker. That's the color I want. So now we go back. And if I click here on icon 2, which is section 2, we can go ahead and then, let's see here, grab this color and change it. Look at that. We'll change this one as well, but let's just see how better this looks. Ah, look at that. Oh, that is so cool. Now you could take this further. And what you could do is you could actually create scroll activated animations with this stuff as well if you wanted to. So I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Let me go back to our studio, check out the comments. All right. Hey man, as somebody who isn't good at visual design and Framer, is it possible for anyone to learn anything if they practice? Well, of course. In fact, right now, I'm really learning how to do improv on guitar, like lead guitar improv, meaning learning how to just take a backing track with a random chord progression and just being able to rip out an awesome, sweet solo, right? So I'm learning how to do that. And if you had asked me a few weeks ago or a month ago, if I would ever be an improv guitar player, because that's one of the most difficult things to do with guitar, I would say, yeah, right. It's just too difficult. But I've been practicing my ass off, and you could just see when you practice something, you make milestones. But also after you make those, you have these great realizations. You get a little bit better with something. You might have a lull afterwards. You're like, oh God, this is so difficult still. I feel like I'm not making progress. Well, here's the bottom line. You keep practicing and you keep consistent no matter what. If you really want it enough, if you want to be able to if you want to be able to rip out awesome guitar solos, like in an improvisational perspective or aspect, you're going to do what it takes. Every single day, you're going to work on this and you will get better. So yes, you can get better with anything as long as you practice. People these days, especially, don't have enough hard work ethic, so they quit things too soon, which is great for people like us who won't quit. All right. Okay, that's enough of my little lecture there. Here's another question from Lauren. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. What if we set all the stuff about animation and transition on Figma and then export it to Framer with the plugin? Will it work too? I understand that this can require some adjustments. I don't believe that Framer will accurately reproduce animations. Well, not yet, at least. I haven't really tried it, but I don't think that's a thing that works. There's a lot of setup work that has to be done. And the problem is if they try to make it that integrated with another separate product that they don't have control over, whenever Framer makes an update, it would break their system. I'm sure that happens enough already. So I don't believe that, it would be cool if you could just do that, but I don't think that they have that tied into their system yet. All right. One more question, and then we'll get to finishing up this project. Somebody asked, is UI UX design similar to front end? No. They're two entirely different fields. So UI UX design is all about designing the aesthetics of a website, which is the UI part. And then UX, there's a lot of overlap between UI UX, but UX is just making sure that people can use and access your website easily, essentially. That's a very simple definition, but UX is a very large umbrella term. UI is a part of that. Now, front-end development, however, is the process that typically comes next, where, okay, you have your design, the UI UX designer designed it. Now front-end development means you have to integrate, you have to learn HTML and CSS to make that design a reality in the browser. All right, so they're two separate things. And if you want to tackle both, you can. It's going to take a while, or you can just specialize in one or the other. All right, so going back, I will answer more questions here, but let's finish up this project because we're already at 52 minutes. So if I go back, I mentioned we can actually add more interactivity into this thing. So for instance, if we grab, let's see here, how do I want to handle this? We could take each one of these where it says Sky Sea Technology. We can modify these so that they have an effect, like an appear, no, not an appear effect, maybe like a scroll animation. You can tie it to the layer in view or the section in view. We'll do section, center it. You can make it fade in. We can just leave it at that. Let's see what that does. All right, so it happens pretty quick. This is where you can kind of mess around. Oh, the section. Well, that's why it wasn't working. We didn't specify the section. So if I choose right here, section 1. All right, now automatically it's going to show up. For section 2, let's come over here. We'll choose section 2. And then down here, we'll choose section 3. Let's hit play. Not very obvious. So let's take section 2, for instance, and just experiment with some of these values. So if we do the viewport at the top, what happens? So when you set at the top, here's what happens. Right when the top of this section, section 2, comes into hits the viewport at the top of it, then that's when it shows up. You don't want this because you don't want somebody to sit right here and have the title not show up. That's not ideal. So really what we could do is probably set it back to this middle one. And maybe instead of fade in, maybe we'll do slide in top. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it'll replay and it just gives us an animation like that, which is fine. If you don't want it to have the spring effect, you can adjust that in these settings right here, like enter, change from spring maybe to ease, and it'll change the animation type. And you can make that slower if you want by adjusting the ease duration. So like 0.6 maybe. Now we take this, right click and copy it. We'll just delete the original one over here and paste that in. Now we have to go back here and make sure section 1 is selected. And then we'll do the same thing with this title. Let's delete that, paste it. And we'll make sure section 3 is selected. So now if we come down here, I'm not sure if I really like that animation. I'd probably make it a little bit more smooth and maybe play around with the easing. And then you could do the same thing if you wanted to for the paragraphs as well. So we could do effects, scroll animation, section in view. And this time, let's see here. Maybe do something similar like, slide in bottom maybe. And now we have to take each one of these and tie them to their respective sections. Oh, it's already up. There we go. Section 2 and then section 3. Kind of a little bit slow to start. You don't want it to end up here like this. But again, that's just all about playing with these values. But you can see how cool this is and a lot of the really cool stuff that you can make by experimenting and playing around with all this very fun stuff. Oh, shit. I didn't show the screen. Sorry about that. Let me play just so you can see what I was talking about. Let me real quick, because nobody got to see that. Let me recap what I did. All I did is select these ones, and we added an effect of scroll animation, which is right here. And then in that animation, we specify section and view. So again, we have the title selected. We choose section 1 for this one. And then the viewport is in the middle. The replay is yes. And then we have adjusted the timing and the animation right here in this section. And so that's all I did for each one of these as well. All right. I personally like the other one I did better. I like the design better, but it's still the same concept. Awesome stuff. So as always, I want you to check out my From Figma to Framer course. This project I will be adding here later today. Currently, there's over 5 hours of content. We'll probably boost that up to about 7 or 8 by the time the course is done by next month. But you can take it right now for 40% off if you join while I'm developing the course. You can take it at your own pace and just learn how to take these awesome layouts created in Figma and learn how to make them really cool and animated and work in the browser with Framer. So I'll check the chat for some any other comments. Let's see. Yeah, the other screen. Yep. Somebody said, in JS, I would just have all those icons and add an active class on the icon, which would change the transform to 0. And yeah, for sure. Doing it the vanilla way of things is certainly beneficial to understand. And which is something that I teach with my advanced front ends course. That is pure HTML, CSS, JavaScript, along with the GreenSock animation platform and some 3JS as well. So if any of you want to take those courses, definitely check it out. And I think we are good to go. That's an hour stream. And so we'll be back with more content. Somebody asked real quickly, can we make the background change on scrolling without moving? I'm not sure what you mean, but I'm sure there's definitely a way to do that. You could definitely change like the full section background color as well if you wanted to. All right, everybody, I will see you soon and goodbye.